Dan Dubuque joins me now as he gets ready to fight once again this Friday for Combat Zone, Friday the 17th against Brendan Morotte. How are you, Dan?
Yeah, man. How about you?
Really good. It's been a little while since we've talked, and you've been a busy man. You've taken a couple of fights. The last two haven't really gone your way, unfortunately. I haven't seen the tape on this last fight with Jacob Bohn. Is there one out yet? And I understand it was kind of a grappling match. It went to a 5-round decision. So for anyone that hasn't seen it, can you just kind of elaborate as to what happened in that fight?
Yeah, it was essentially just it's on Fight TV, so I don't know how that works when they release it. If reality's going to put it on YouTube or whatever, but it's still on Fight TV. It was just, he just smothered me for 5 rounds. He didn't really open up too much when he got on the ground. He didn't really, he went for a couple chokes, couple arm bars, I guess, but he wasn't really actively trying for the finish too much, and he wasn't doing any ground and pound really. So it was kind of just a lot of holding and grappling. It was pretty grueling. It was just a good game plan by him on the feet. If you watch, anytime there was striking, I was getting much better of the exchanges. But, it was just a good game plan by him. So, and he, smart way, grinded out the victory.
You are known for your stand-up. I think it's safe to say you would rather stand and fight, which for the fans, that's what they really come to see. Was it frustrating to fight Jacob? Is that, do you kind of leave the fight when it's all said and done with a bad taste in your mouth, like you really didn't get a chance to showcase your skill set?
Not at all. Like I'm frustrated that I lost, and it's frustrating to lose that way. Like you said, it's fun. It's more fun for everyone watching and also being a part of a fight where it's a little more action back and forth. I don't mind if it goes to the ground, but if there's, submission attempts, some scrambles, but obviously I do like to stand up better. Like me and Bruce, we pretty much banged out for 25 minutes, and I think that was a lot of fun for everybody to watch. I watched it back a lot of times. It was a really close fight, and, it was cool to rewatch. And this one's just kind of, a little boring, just a lot of holding and stalling and that type of stuff. But it was the smartest, easiest path to victory for him. So hats off to him. But it was just, he's a bigger weight. I think guys at 35 and 45 have tried that on me in the past and haven't been able to do that. But he was bigger, stronger, and, his style worked.
Yeah, that actually was going to be my next question, because I saw Jacob fight Ryan Sanders for NEF in Portland, and Ryan's a pretty big guy. He fights upwards of 170, and your natural weight class is featherweight, 145. So is this just a fight really where the weight played the biggest difference here?
Yeah, I would lean towards yes. I don't want to make an excuse to say that, but because I did win a title and probably my best performance ever. I beat Jimmy Manning in, 2.5 minutes or whatever, and knees, elbows, dropped him with punches a couple of times. So I felt fantastic for that fight. I felt good for this one too. It's just, I think if I got my striking off more, if I got into a rhythm, it would have been a different story. But yeah, and in terms of the grappling, he felt way stronger than me. And yeah, I think I'm just more naturally a 45er, so I'll probably be going back down there. But I don't really care. I told my manager. My manager knows that I just fight by a few things. I tell him, tell me when and what weight. That's it. And my opponent has to have a 500 or better record. Other than that, I don't care who it is or what weight it is, because I just love being a part of the fights and everything. And this last one, I went up to 55. Mainly one of the reasons was because the holidays. I wanted to enjoy myself and eat and do all that and drink and. Man, it didn't go on my way, and people will say you should be, 45, this, that, whatever. I don't really regret it,
Yeah, at the end of the day, you still got to be happy in life and enjoy yourself. So you still have plenty of your career ahead of you as well. So I'm sure you'll get right back in the win column. Hopefully this next fight, which is 2 days away from now. You did mention Bruce Boyington earlier. I want to run back that fight too, because I haven't talked to you since then. Really interesting fight, very close, split decision. You guys really put on a show for the fans. Is that a fight that you're hoping you can get a rematch with? I mean, I know he's in his 40s now. I don't know how many more fights he has has left. He does have one coming up against Josh Grisby for NEF next month. But are you hoping to get a rematch with Bruce?
Not really. I mean, actually, not at all, really. We did our thing. I think our fight careers now are on a little bit different paths, and I have so much respect for him and his whole life in general. Veteran, family man, and stuff like that. Hardworking guy, and I'm similar in that way. And I don't really, we had our fight. It was a lot of fun, and he got the win, and I just don't like losing. The losses kind of haunt me a little bit, but it's not anything that a rematch or I don't really want to fight him again because I like him so much, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I don't really have that. I don't need to get that loss back or anything like that. It's not, even if I fought him again and beat him, it wouldn't change the fact that I lost that fight. So it's not something that I'm actively pursuing. If it ever happens, whatever, but I really don't see it happening.
Is there something you feel like you could have done differently, maybe to get a nod in one of those rounds to sway the judges? I mean, because it was a very close fight, but when you look back at it now, is there something you feel like you really could have done to maybe get that win where, it was a close fight, but, at the end of the day, the judges, you never really know what they're looking for. So when, your coaches and you guys look back at it, I'm just curious if there's something that stands out.
Yeah, I think maybe just change levels a little bit, mix it up, go for a takedown or two. Maybe I get it, maybe I don't, but maybe it just keeps him thinking a little more and changes the landscape on the feet. Or maybe I get the takedown and that changes it for the judges a little bit, because I feel like the fights that I've lost that are really close decisions like that, that the guys have gotten a takedown. And even if I get right back up, when the judge sees like, oh, this round was really close striking wise, maybe I feel like I got the better of certain fights that I had close decision losses on the striking, but then they land those one or two takedowns, and I feel like the judges are like, well, it was close on the feet, he got the takedown, we'll give it to the other guy. I haven't shot much in my fight career, so maybe that's something I could have done. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
like that, it's really tough because when I lost to Tim Dueling, I spoke with the judge after, and he actually had said to me, well, you were going back a lot. Even though you were kind of evading his punches and landing your own, he was the aggressor. So we gave him a lot. I gave him credit for that, for being the aggressor and constantly pushing the pace and stuff like that. So since then, I've tried to be the one that's always going forward. I think with Bruce fight, I just tried to keep coming forward, and I thought that would, but that kind of, I kind of still ended up on the short end of the stick. So it's really tough to call what the judges are actually looking for. It changes a little bit, and I'm not faulting the judges in any way. It's just, that's just, kind of just depends. You never know.
Yeah, that's the truth. You really do. You never know, because it's subjective. It's what they're looking for. Some judges could like you said, pressure someone that's coming forward. They could lean towards that, or it's, whether it's cage control, it goes to the ground. You just never really know. But moving forward, I'm sure you'll be just fine, as you always are. You still have a really good record. But I do want to touch upon that because I know you're a confident guy, but you've dropped your last two fights. Does your confidence ever get affected by that? Do you just feel more hungry to step back into the cage?
Yeah, I'm hungry. I'm not more hungry. I've never lost two in a row before, so it's something new for me. But I just, like I said, I love being in there. So I'm really looking to turn it around and try to put a streak together, and and just keep taking some fights. Hopefully I stay healthy, and that's it.
I think your goal still has to be to get to the big leagues, whether it's PFL, Bellator, UFC, whatever it may be. Where do you feel like you stand right now? Like, what do you think you need to do to really capture their attention here, hopefully in 2020?
It's hard to say, man. I don't. That's obviously always the goal, but I kind of put that to the side now because there's a lot of politics involved, and managers and things like that. Connections, who has connection, who doesn't. I thought at 7-2, that I was in line for a shot. I thought at 8-2, I was for sure in line for a shot. I saw guys go on Contender that had worse records than me. 6-2. I saw guys with worse records in that series, season of the Contender. And then 8-2. So it's like we've been trying, but my manager, sets moves with Carlos Correa, and he's newer. But that's one of my best friends, and I'm gonna be loyal to him. And we just don't really. He's gonna be there. He's gonna get guys there. We got some young guys that on his roster that are definitely gonna make it. But sometimes it's kind of a little bit who you know. You see some guys getting opportunities that haven't fought anyone, fought bums, got some wins, and then they get on and they're or they're guys with worse records but better connections. So it's not really. I think it's more along the lines of a who you know type deal nowadays.
Now, obviously, you're focused right now on Morotte. That's where your head's at. But when you look around the New England MMA scene, is there anyone that stands out at 145 pounds that you would like to get in there with later this year?
Man, off the top of my head, I don't know of anyone right away. There's somebody at 155 that I'm really looking to fight that I might be I'm going to be looking for that fight, seeing if my manager Carlos can set that up. I'm not going to say his name, especially right now before the fight, but after the fight, I'm gonna make some noise with it and see if we can make it happen.
It's interesting. I actually ran into Josh Harvey earlier this morning, and I talked to him a little bit about you. I was interviewing Dan Dubuque later today. What are your thoughts on him as a fighter? And he's like, "Oh, I love him. I guess you guys cut weight together at a hotel back in the day." And he said you're just a classy guy. He just likes you as a person. Having said that, he said he'd get in the cage and fight his brother if he was matched up with him. That's just the type of guy that he is. And he thought that a fight with you down the line would be something that the New England fight fans would love to see. Is that something that interests you?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's a beast. He's very, very good everywhere. I would definitely be interested in that because I think it would be like you said, it'd be a fun fight for everybody to watch and for both of us to be a part of. Man, dude, I was cutting weight to 35. He was fighting Joe at 55, and I don't know if it was because I was at 35, but man, that guy was fucking huge too. I was like, holy shit. I couldn't believe that he has actually he makes 45 being next to him like that. But yeah, if that's what ends up happening, that would be cool. Just because I like the challenges, as you can tell, I've only fought tough guys. So, but I don't really see him being local that much longer. I'm pretty sure he's got it. He deserves a shot at least at Contender, if not straight into the UFC. So I'm pretty sure that he's going to be there real soon.
Yeah, no, and you're right. He is a big guy. I think he gets upwards of like 180, 185 pounds when he's not in camp. So he cuts quite a bit even to make it down to featherweight. And he's had some troubles making it to 145 because of the size. So we'll see what weight class I guess he stays at moving forward. But I had to mention that because he said that nothing but respect for you and your fighting skill. But that would be an interesting fight. So I just wanted to mention that to you. I understand. I saw in a recent interview with you that there are some people that are throwing shade at you. Can you elaborate on that? What's going on with that?
Man, just after some Cage Titans guys, man. I don't know. I can't win with some people out there and their fans and stuff like that. It's tough, man. For years and dating back to amateur days, I've been going out there fighting all good opponents in their backyard. You know what I mean? I've taken tough fights out there, won a bunch, lost a few. I just get criticized by guys like that, and I don't like that. I don't like the trash talking. I think it's corny because especially where I grew up too. I'm from Waterbury. It's not a good city. That stuff doesn't fly like this Facebook trash talking. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have social media growing up, so you couldn't hide behind the keyboard. So I don't like this. Like these guys aren't that type, those type of people that they'll say anything in person. You know what I mean? So I just don't like that. And I look, there's the stuff with Jimmy Manning. He's one of the ones that talks trash. He wants a rematch. He claims that I hit him with an illegal knee. It's like, first of all, dude, like that knee was a bang bang play. When you pause it at the right split second, you could maybe see that it was possibly illegal, but he never brings up the fact that I dropped him twice before that. There's no way he would. At no point was he in that fight except for the first 30 seconds. You know what I mean? I dropped him with combos twice before that knee, elbows. He was bleeding all over the place. That was not the defining moment of the fight. And for him to just keep holding on to that and talking trash online, talking trash to other people, and saying things were like, dude, you got smoked. And that's it. Just move on. Like I never carry anything when I've lost split decisions. I'm not saying, oh, these judges and this and that. You know what I mean? Just let the loss go. Like it's one example I bring up is Anthony Smith versus John Jones. John Jones, that was a blatantly illegal strike to the head, and Anthony Smith could have fucking quit. He could have said anything. Got the win by DQ. Won a huge bonus for a bunch of extra money, UFC gold, and be a champion for life. And after the press conference, he's like, I don't want to win like that. You know what I mean? And now for Jimmy to be, he's like hiring lawyers to try and sue the commission and me to reverse the win 2 years later, dude. Like, get out of here, man. Just fucking move on. He's 40. Move on, bro. You know what I mean? So just there's a couple guys that talk about that fight or like the Johnny fight because it was a split decision, very close. Again, you think Johnny won? You're entitled to your opinion. You know what I mean? I've won split decisions. I've lost split decisions. There's times where the fights are that close, and it could go either way. And you could have your opinion, but to be trash talking and still carrying on years later, it's fucking ridiculous.
Well said. I love the passion coming from you too. So that's I can tell what we're talking about here. I think there's a lot of validity as to what you're saying too, because you just go out there and fight and let the chips fall where they may, and I respect that about you. So very well said. Speaking of trash talk, who you got this weekend, Conor or Cowboy?
I'm half Irish, man. I got to go with my man Conor.
How do you think?
I love Cowboy, because he's got a similar mentality. He just fucking fights anybody. Obviously everybody loves Conor. What about you? I mean, Cowboy. What about you?
I'm leaning towards Conor as well. If I remember correctly, Diaz beat Cowboy back in the day, and I really feel like I think Cowboy's going to stand and trade with Conor. He's made it clear he wants to test himself, and I don't think that's the smartest move. I mean, Cowboy has some great kicks, but Conor's hands are lethal, and the best way to beat Conor, as you've seen, is get him to the ground. I think if Cowboy does that and makes this into a long, grueling fight, that's his best chance of winning. But Cowboy has too much pride. I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be I'm predicting a second-round TKO for Conor.
I'm with you. I agree with that assessment.
Yeah, very, very good. Now let's talk about this fight. Quick turnaround. You just fought. Now you're stepping back into the cage. What was the reasoning behind that? Obviously, you're healthy.
Yeah, because I was feeling good, and that's the one thing that's good about 55 is that I make it through camp with no injuries. I feel good going into a fight, and I could turn around and fight quick again. That's why I like fighting at this weight. At 45. It's not an easy cut for me, so it's hard to rebound quick. And I'm often going with wrestling with bigger guys or jits or whatever, and I'm getting banged up. I'm getting injuries, so I got to take some time off after, because my body's depleted from the calorie deficit and shit like that. So, but at 55, I feel good. So I came out of that fight like there's a lot of holding and stuff like that. I took relatively no damage. So yeah, just. I heard he needed an opponent, so I said, let's run it. And it's an exciting fight for me because he likes to strike. I like his style. I respect him as a martial artist and a person. It just seems like it's going to be a fun fight.
He's 5-1. He's considered one of those up and coming guys that really could, make it out of the New England MMA scene. See him on the big show one day. What's your overall assessment on his skill set? Where do you feel like you're going to be able to hold an advantage come fight night?
I think that I never guarantee when wins or whatever, but I think that even if he takes a loss here, he's still going to be in the big show someday. He's young, he's very, very, very talented, but I think that I just been in, a lot more battles than him. I think, I have a lot more cage time, and I think it's just a little bit of an experience factor. And hopefully it stays on the feet. And he said he's excited that somebody's finally going to strike with him. And I think that I have a little bit of an advantage there.
Do you feel like you can knock him out?
Tough to say, man. I don't have too many knockouts, so I don't really go in and say I'm going to knock this dude out or knock that dude out. I think I can, yes, but obviously I don't have a ton of finishes, so I can't say that I'm going to.
Well, I know you're not going to talk trash here and make a solid prediction as to what's going to happen. I'm assuming you do believe you're going to go in there and get the win. Let's just assume that happens. What's next for you? When do you want to step back into the cage? Are we going to see you next weekend fighting at another show, or are you going to take a little more time off?
I told Carlos to have CES on standby. It depends. He knows the same thing. I said, he knows the dates of the shows. I said, put me on any one of those, the ones that are in New England. I don't know. Bellator's coming back in March. CES is always out there. Ammo, PFC. There's a lot of different cards coming up. I said, again, same thing for any of those. Just tell me when and what weight. That's all. I'm ready to go.
Awesome. Well, excited to see you step back into the cage here this Friday, and hopefully again very soon in the near future. Always a pleasure, Dan. Before I let you go, if there's anyone you want to thank or any sponsors you have, floor is yours.
Still no sponsors. All this time later, never had a single sponsor. Thanks as usual to my coaches, training partners, teammates, my manager, my family, friends that support me. That's it, man. And I thank you to taking the time. I appreciate you too.